Looking, going to throw one deep down the right sideline. Intended for deep. Catches it in stride.
Throwing middle is caught. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's gone, baby. 10-5, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions. Drop.
I'll be cruising in my lane fast,
inside the 35-yard line of the Bengals.
I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, not fucking likely. I've been taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. Run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know.
First time in NFL history a team's been 5-5 with that scenario. Here's the pass over to Hunt.
Best rushing offense in the NFL goes to play.
Turning losses into gains, I'm the boss and making change. I've been rocking this exchange. Popping off and risking things, gonna make a fucking name.
Into the end zone, Devontae Adams with the touchdown.
I don't want that shit fame, no I'm not that vain. I just wanna be greatness.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the DT show, State of the Steelers. And in hindsight, we're doing it in 3 different channels, guys. Welcome everybody to the show. I'm Daniel, the host, and alongside with me, as always, from In Hindsight, Nathan Hines. How you doing, my man? How's it going, buddy?
Not too bad, man. It's Friday. Thank God. For some people, it might not matter. For me, it does matter. But so it's Friday today. Good to be on here, talk a little football with DJ before he heads out my way. So we're just going to kind of go over really the whole playoff bracket.
Yeah. This Football Friday, it's NFL Wild Card Weekend. And yes, I will be in attendance. I'm going to be heading out to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'll be watching the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Houston Texans on Monday night on the wild card matchup. That, I mean, let's be real. I mean, if we go back a little bit, one game behind, the Steelers' epic Sunday night win over the Baltimore Ravens, a game that went back and forth, got a couple of missed field goals at the end, won by the Pittsburgh Steelers field goal place kicker, named once a serial killer by Mike Tomlin, their head coach, actually gets blocked on an extra point, which gives the opportunity for the Baltimore Ravens to win with a 3-point field goal. They go down the field, wide right. Take me through your emotions. I know you're a Steelers fan. For those that are watching that don't know, we both are actually Steeler fans. But what was your emotions like during that moment? And did you call your buddy Z, who's a Baltimore Ravens fan, and how was his emotions during that moment?
It's a great question. Well, when Boz missed the extra point, I thought it was over. I thought they lost.
Mm-hmm.
Just given the fact of there still being a minute, our secondary was very suspect during that, and I just did not have the trust in that. I mean, all they get was in field goal range to win the football game, and Baltimore's a team that's capable of doing that within 50 seconds. So I thought it was over, honestly, and then I just kind of walked away from it, and then I just waited for them to kick, and then my reaction was just kind of, I think what every other fan's reaction was, honestly. I was stunned that Tyler Loop missed it, but at the same time, it's kind of known as one of the most difficult stadiums to kick in, and he's a rookie kicker, so there's a lot of pressure there. Very situational for a rookie kicker. But really on that 4th and 7, man, I don't know how Jalen Ramsey didn't knock that ball out of his hands.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know how he did not make a play on that ball. Mm-hmm. And it's remarkable to me that when you have Likely there, you have Ramsey coming over, and I forget what corner, who was it, Asante Samuel or somebody that was in that range. And so you had the help safety there, but it's like, how do you not break that pass up? I feel like Minkah Fitzpatrick would have. Well, I genuinely feel like that's a Minkah type play to knock that out on 4th down, because he's done that so much.
For sure.
I was sick to my stomach on what Raj did, sing the emotion there, and I'm like, man, I feel so bad for him because this was really him in Green Bay a lot. And why a lot of reasons in terms of why he really only won one Super Bowl with them. So very frustrating on that end, but honestly, it's great to see. Even if I wasn't a Steeler fan, I would much rather see Aaron Rodgers at least get one more shot, assuming he's going to retire, rather than see a mediocre Baltimore Ravens team with Lamar when they've had 6 years. So
yeah, I mean, it really, the one thing that shocked me though was the fact that, and we talked about that before, is when the Steelers played them before, I was like, hey, there's going to be a matchup at the end. Do you think that if the Steelers end up eliminating the Ravens season at that point, is that going to be the end of hardball in Baltimore? Fast forward a few weeks, ends up being the scenario. Hardball's not there no more. How surprised are you? And from your friend's perspective, Z, who is a Baltimore Ravens fan, how's he feeling about the loss of their head coach?
He was kind of surprised. Yeah, to really touch on him, we have a group chat, and so like, he would kind of pop off and everything like that. But then when it was so back and forth, it was so funny just to kind of see the back and forth emotions and everything like that. I forget really what he said when the kick happened, but I was actually surprised he FaceTimed me. And we have like a inside joke of like different things. I'm not really going to comment it on here, so like don't get flagged or anything like that. But there were certain like just actions that he was doing just to show pretty much like, he that he, I don't really know how to describe it on here, but he was sick. He was sick. He was fed up, and he was surprised. He was surprised that the Ravens did fire John.
Yeah.
Just because of the fact that he felt that he's somebody who thought Mike McDonald should have got promoted, that they should have let John go after their playoff loss last year and move Mike McDonald into the next position, which looking at it, should have been the right decision. So he personally thought that they should have, if they keep John, okay, you move off Zach Orr and some of your coaching staff, but get somebody in there that can be seasoned to kind of take over within a year or two. And then they didn't do that.
No, they didn't. There's a lot of options that are going on now. At the time of his firing, it was reported that there was 7 different teams that had reached out to him as for their possible coaching vacancy. And I say possible because at the time there was only 7 teams that had vacant head coaching positions, and the Baltimore Ravens were one. So I doubt they were reaching back out to hiring him. So, Mike McDaniels ends up getting fired here recently from the Miami Dolphins. I'm assuming the Miami Dolphins are probably one of those teams. The fact that they moved on from him, maybe not immediately after the season. Well, I guess it was immediately after the season ended, but the fact that they waited until Harbaugh was fired for them to move on does make me pause a little bit. Is Harbaugh going to Miami? Is that a destination spot for him? I know tax-wise, it might be nice. Weather-wise, it's probably a lot nicer than what it is out there in Baltimore. Where do you think he's going to be coaching next? I think there's a good possibility of it being in Miami.
Yeah, I can agree with you. I think that with him, like a team like Miami, I think needs an established guy. Like there's some teams I think that can go in a direction of guys who haven't yet had that experience as a head coach, but can be an up and coming guy. So like the Ravens, I wouldn't be surprised if they went in that direction of doing something like that. But when you have an organization that's kind of been very dysfunctional, you need somebody that's going to bring stability. And whether that be the Dolphins or the Giants or something like that, like those are 2 organizations that have been very dysfunctional. Even though the Dolphins made the playoffs and had a pretty good season a couple years ago, that there's a lot of issues there. And John might want a lot of control with certain things. From what I read, John wanted to bring back the whole coaching staff with the Ravens, and that was a big reason in terms of them letting go completely a whole new direction, which I respect the Ravens for doing. And for them, it's even before this game on Sunday, Steelers and Ravens fans were kind of alike in a lot of different ways of just wanting to see a new direction and it's time and all those type of things. What's up, Sirius? Thanks for coming in. Good to see you too. Appreciate that. A shout out to everybody in the chat as well.
Good to see everybody.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for your interaction. We're kind of going through it. We'll go through comments too as we go on.
Yeah, I got a couple of saved.
Okay. But yeah, it's going to be interesting with John because Miami's in a situation here. You have the Tua issue, his contract. Miami really, you have a couple really strong key positional players, but does John want to go in a situation where he's coached a long time and he wants to be a part of a full rebuild, or does he want to go somewhere that he can look at and say, yeah, you know what, I can win with this team within the next year or two? So that's kind of a factor into certain things, but the Dolphins have some intrigue there, but maybe John, again, like he just wants that full control over the roster and he kind of has a vision on who he wants as his quarterback and the direction of the organization. So I don't know, but there's like 8 head coaching positions open right now. So there's a lot.
There is. I'm surprised that the Baltimore Ravens didn't try to, just trade him, get something in return for John. I don't know if he has a no trade clause in his contract, and I don't know if there's any kind of hiccups with that, or maybe perhaps they just want to do right by him, and by letting him go. I know if I was in their situation with so many teams that were so eager to interview him so fast, why not get a 3rd round pick out of it? Get something out of it. But hey, that's their business. Let them do it the way they want.
Yeah, and depending who loses this weekend too, that doesn't mean that there won't be another head coaching position or two coming out of that.
Exactly. That's 100% true.
So, and a guy like John might be waiting for some of that. He might be waiting. Hey, if there's a team or two that's in the playoff, in the playoff bubble right now, and they move on from their coach, you never know.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're absolutely right.
The Ravens have interviewed a ton of people, so that's gonna be interesting on that end. I would love to see them botch it. I'd love to see them just bring in some I don't know who's somebody like. I'm not a big Cliff Kingsbury fan. There's a lot of reasons for that. So I think that'd be funny because Z can't stand Cliff Kingsbury either. So that would be hilarious. But yeah, there's a lot of situations and different things of that nature that can really happen. I know Jason Garrett, I think, was getting some interest from somewhere too. He's been out of coaching for a few years doing analyst work. So there's a lot. There's a lot, honestly.
Yeah. And then with the departure, of McDaniels out there in Miami, I know that there's also an opening position out there in Tennessee. The Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers, has been one of the guys that has been requested to interview for that position. He used to be their offensive coordinator before he left to become the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons for a couple of years there before becoming the Steelers offensive coordinator. If he goes, the Steelers, Tomlin and Mike McDaniels had a little bit of an interaction out there after the game the Steelers versus Miami here recently. I wouldn't mind seeing that happen. I wouldn't mind seeing if Arthur Smith goes, bringing in somebody like McDaniels into the Pittsburgh Steelers, give that offense a little bit of imagination, so to speak. I don't know if Rodgers is the right quarterback to pair up with that. If Rodgers ends up going back, to the Pittsburgh Steelers for
that's
another
a good
year.
point. Like if you're Aaron, do you want to learn a whole new thing?
That's true.
That's another thing too. I think Arthur Smith's gotten a little bit too much hate this year. He's not my cup of tea necessarily in terms of how he likes to conduct an offense. And I don't really think in terms of really how he does things, like we really even saw a lot of that play out this year. But if he does honestly, I don't think he will, but if he would for some reason, like they have some options out there. I think more than likely it's going to be Terrell Austin that goes, which he should go. I've been saying that for 4 years. I never even agreed with them hiring him in the first place.
Good possibility. Well, let's break down some of these games. So let's talk about the first one that's coming up. It's going to be the Los Angeles Rams at the Carolina Panthers. The Los Angeles Rams were first place in the NFC conference not too long ago. Now they find themselves.
We're getting there, Messi. Relax.
Yeah, exactly. They come to a situation now where the Los Angeles Rams are traveling to Carolina, who just got, they had a competitive game or two in the last couple of weeks. It was a win and they're in for the last 2 weeks for the Carolina Panthers, and they lost both games. If it wasn't for the Atlanta Falcons winning against the New Orleans Saints, it would have been the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this position. Good for me because I had $100 bet going on which team would go further this year, the Steelers or Tampa Bay, and it went right down to the wire. So I won that. I also won two fantasy football leagues, including the one that I'm in with you.
Yes.
So it's been a very successful
year. Yeah, definitely
so
big wins at the end of the season for sure.
Yes, well, and I want that to continue with my team. Well, anywho, Rams are going in. I think this is the Rams are 10.5 point favorites. I mean, 10.5 point underdogs at home. I think that didn't they play earlier this season, both these teams, and didn't Carolina beat the Rams? I think they did.
Hang on a second. I love this Meshy guy. Hang on. All right, you want to hear about the Bears? We're gonna get there, bro. If you want to hear about the Bears that bad, there's other content that strictly talks about the Bears. We're gonna get there. We're Steeler fans, so we also kind of talked a little bit about them. Okay, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
We'll get there. And so yeah,
and I might say some things just to piss you off. Okay, for fun.
Yeah, I did gamble. I gambled quite a bit, actually. I gotta call that 1-800 gambling right now. But I won this year. I won, so it's all good. But yeah, Carolina already beat the Rams. They're looking to make it 2 in a row. It's very difficult to beat the same team twice, especially a team that's very successful, a team that's as strong as the Los Angeles Rams. But do you think they can, are you seeing a 10.5 point win? Are you seeing a blowout here? I think it's possible.
It's definitely possible. If you're the Carolina Panthers, all things considered, I think you're a little bit ahead of schedule going into the year. You win the NFC North. You had a losing record, of course. This freaking guy. The NFC, they win the NFC South. The NFC South was crap. But I do think that if you're the Panthers, you still have to feel good. You won your division. You got in the playoffs. I think you're a little ahead of schedule than what you projected. But it's not in their favor. They have a home game. Obviously, it's not in their favor. The Rams are arguably the best team in the league, even though they're a wild card. It's very likely, given the Rams' experience, Sean McVay, Matt Stafford, and everything, that and this with Bryce Young, and this is a young Panthers team. It could end up getting blown out. Honestly, I think that this is really the only game that lacks intrigue to me in the playoffs. So it's possible. I haven't looked at the spread or anything like that.
Well, I mean, that game, I'm just kind of looking through it real quick. That's the highest spread. Obviously, I don't think anybody was going to be surprised. The San Francisco and the 49ers is the next one that has the higher spread, which I'm a little bit taken back by that, to be honest with you. But yeah, this one's got the widest spread, so I'm not surprised that it's like that. I wish this game was on Monday night, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. What type of score are you predicting here?
I think I'm kind of on your side on maybe this potentially being a blowout, man. Honestly, I could see like 34-14 or something like that.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this is going to be a blowout. I'm predicting somewhere around the 32 to 17 range. And I think much of that 17 comes in like junk time.
Yeah. No, it's very much so. It's the least intriguing one. I don't really think there's really a whole lot of like conversation about this game, just given outside the aspects. Stafford probably gonna be your MVP. They've been in the Super Bowl. This is a young team. So it's a good step in the right direction for the Panthers, getting a playoff game like that with a young roster. And they definitely have the opportunity to get a little better this offseason. But I don't really see how anybody's picking Carolina to win this game.
Double comes in saying, going to be stormy, rainy, and 20-mile-per-hour wind. Carolina can run. Their D will give them a chance. I didn't realize that the weather was going to be pretty nasty out there. The Rams coming in from a dome situation. That's definitely going to play in the favor of Carolina. We'll see if they can take advantage of it. That's what they're going to have to do if they want to win. All right, the next game, Green Bay at Chicago. I think this one's going to be a fan favorite in the live chat. Some folks have been wanting to hear about the Chicago Bears here. So Chicago Bears are...
Get it over with.
Yeah. It is the Green Bay Packers are 1.5 point favorites, I believe. Yeah, the Green Bay Packers are 1.5 favorites on the road. Are you shocked by that? I'm a little bit shocked. I'll be honest with you. I thought that the Bears, um,
Bears suck.
go Titans.
I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with this guy. I don't know what's wrong with this guy.
But to be honest, so with the Chicago Bears, I thought they've played some pretty decent football. I think their quarterback has been shaky at times. I think he's gotten better as the year progressed. I think he needed a lot of developing and growing. Ben Johnson out there has really matured him a lot. I think he was working with a very raw quarterback that may have learned some bad habits and kept some bad habits out of college, and maybe just didn't get the right development with the previous regime. But I think he's developed over the season. I think that, when the Steelers played him, he had some throws that looked good, and he had some throws that I think he would have wanted back, and maybe perhaps even would have made that game even worse than what it was. But I digress there. I'm surprised by this. The Green Bay Packers haven't been playing their best football. They've had a lot of injuries. Micah Parsons going to be out again, obviously, for the year. I think he had a pretty serious season-ending injury. I think it was an ACL tear. I don't think the Green Bay Packers were that dominant team that they were about the midway point of the season. I think in the last second half, they've kind of, stumbled a little bit. So I'm a little bit surprised that they're road favorites. What do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, again, I haven't looked at any of the spreads for this game or for really any of these games, honestly.
Yeah.
Chicago this year, again, they're a team that's ahead of schedule. Freaking Messi's distracting me, dude. Chicago's a team that's ahead of schedule. Again, what they've accomplished goes to show coaching matters. Chicago has never been able to figure out their coaching. It's about every 2-3 years or so, a continual coaching roulette, everything like that. Getting a guy who's very innovative and ahead of schedule. A lot of people projected them to win 7 games this year, but not a lot of, but like going with them hiring Ben Johnson, an innovative coach who's integrated with really modern day NFL and modern day NFL offense is obviously a huge reason why this Bears team is doing exactly what they're doing. They have 2 running backs that they rely very heavily on. You could make the debate that they're arguably about maybe the best tandem of a running back duo in the league, just given when Kyle Monangai came on the scene, everything like that, when Swift was injured, and what they both kind of offset each other really well. Caleb Williams has really stepped up, improved his game, has had some big fourth quarter comebacks. Bears defense has been playing better. They turned the ball over. They've been turning the ball over the last several weeks, and it's in Chicago. Make a great point with the Bears or the Packers. They're banged up. Micah Parsons is still injured. Jordan Love is going to play, sure, but even at that point, I mean, is that something that really moves the needle for you? As that Jordan Love's playing, especially with the current state of where Green Bay's at. They haven't been running the football well. Josh Jacobs been on and off. I don't know. Is it too late for them to kind of get on some type of I don't know, on any type of run. So I can see Green Bay win this too, just given Matt LaFleur and he's won a couple playoff games there when he first joined them. But the Bears are the hot hand. Ben Johnson has these guys ready to play every week. There's a ton of cracks in this Green Bay team. I think I'm gonna lean the Bears to win this game.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I'm predicting the upset as well. Now, if the Bears lose, it's mainly going to be a choke artist. In my opinion, I think they're going to choke to lose this game. A lot of injuries. It's at home. The stadium should be amped. This is the first time that they've won the division in a while, and the fan base should be going there. And it's a classic matchup. I mean, Bears and Packers is a rivalry matchup. I would expect to see an electric stadium, and we'll see if they can handle the pressure. A lot of young guys, a lot of new faces and new places there, and so we'll see if they can handle that. I'm going to say that they win though, 27-23. You know, I do think it's somewhat close, but I do think they win.
Close game, I think, relatively.
Yeah, and I agree with Ron here, saying I don't think that the Packers should even be favored. I agree with you. I'm surprised that they are.
I'm surprised that they are.
Given just kind of how they've kind of come down a little bit. And so now we're going to transition to Sunday. The first game, it's going to be a noon o'clock game. It's going to be the Buffalo Bills at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars are home favorites, 1.5 point favorites against the Buffalo Bills. This should be a good game. Buffalo has had some up and down moments this year, you know, but I think that here towards the end, they've kind of gotten it together for the most part. And I think they're going to be a formidable matchup. I think that, you know, some folks have asked about, for instance, I think it was Ron, like, have you ever seen a year where there isn't a runaway favorite? You know, if I had to say on the AFC side, if there is a favorite, you know, I think a lot of people are looking at Buffalo's direction. Patrick Mahomes is not in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson's not in the playoffs. These are guys that have prevented him from going to the Super Bowl in the past. He's got to deal with some other quarterbacks there. First one is Trevor Lawrence. You know, I still think that in the end, I think Buffalo will probably win this game. You know, me personally, I'm hoping Buffalo and San Diego win so the Steelers get another home game, but that's just a personal thing. But I do think that they overcome Jacksonville. You know, Jacksonville, although Jacksonville has done some pretty good things as of late, especially with the trade with Jacoby Myers, that has really sparked their offense. And I think that they have been playing on another level with him, added to the other pieces that they've had. Etienne has been he's been that guy, you know, that they've needed. He's been elusive. He's gotten them yards. He was on one of my fantasy teams and made me a lot of points. And so I'm familiar with their team quite a bit. So with that being said, I still think that the better quarterback in this situation is probably going to win, but I think it's going to be a very close game. This one's probably, in my opinion, like, man, 26, 23, 24, somewhere around there. You know, very close game. You know, 3-point win or so. What are your thoughts and your pick on this game?
Yeah, this really has the chance to be the best game of the weekend, I think, ultimately. This is Josh Allen's this is Josh Allen's opportunity to win the AFC.
Yeah.
Buffalo, even though they've won 11, 12 games, their offensive line's good, but they're beatable. 100% they're beatable. And Josh Allen, if he has a playoff run, it might be a situation. If he's playing Superman, I mean, really, how far can you go? Starting with round one all the way to the end with him playing Superman the whole way.
Yeah.
I don't know if I see that. Buffalo's defense, not very good. Jacksonville is the hottest team in the league right now. Liam Cohen's done a fantastic job. Trevor Lawrence is finally coming into his own in his fifth season, which it's taken him this amount of time. But coaching matters. Coaching matters at the end of the day. Trevor Lawrence has gone through 3-4 different starting coaches or head coaches, and Liam Cohen, you got to give him credit. A lot of people doubted him with his, especially when he did his Duval comments before the season started. This guy's a goon, but ton of credit for him, man. I'm honestly rooting for Jacksonville. I would love to see them beat the Bills. I'm not a Bills guy. I'm really not a huge Josh Allen guy. I respect him. I think he's a little overrated. But what Jacksonville's done, Jacoby Myers getting plugged in there, Brian Thomas been disappointing, whatever. But Jacksonville has a lot of guys that get integrated with their offense, man. You know, they have a couple backs there. Strange is another guy that Trevor Lawrence likes. So I think with really how prone the Bills defense is, ultimately there's a big chance, man. I think Jacksonville's going to come away with it, and I think they're going to.
That'll be a good one to watch. Like
Yep.
you said, I think this one's going to be probably the closest matchup of the weekend. The best game, and I'll be watching it. That one's a 12 p.m. Central, 1 o'clock Eastern time kickoff. Buffalo at Jacksonville. The next game on Sunday is going to be a 3:30 p.m. Central, 4:30 kickoff. And my computer just glitched. Give me a sec.
You're good.
And that is going to be between the San Francisco 49ers and the Eagles. Now, this one also has a big spread here. The Eagles are favored by 6 point. They're 6-point favorites at home against the 49ers. 49ers been dealing. I think they got kind of banged up a little bit in that last game. I know Brock Purdy went down with an injury. I think he's going to end up being okay, and I think he's going to play. I'm surprised by the margin here. I would have expected more of a 3-point favorite. I think that the 49ers have done well. In fact, they were in it towards the end. They were one of the teams that could have possibly ended up with first place in the NFC. So 6-point favorites. It's in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a hard place to win. 49ers have to travel across the country. The only thing that's good for them about this traveling is that the game's at 4:30 local time, and so it's not too early in the day for them. But I think that in Philadelphia, it's a hard place to win. I think the Eagles are going to take care of business. I'm not sure they're going to win by 6, though. I don't know if they'll cover the 6 points, but I think they'll end up winning. This game, there's going to be some more points. I think they're going to have to put up points. So I'm going to go somewhere around 27-32, somewhere around there with the Philadelphia Eagle win. Where are you at on this game?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm in the same boat as pretty much most of the chat here. Ton of credit, man. San Francisco, most banged up team all season, found ways to win. Pretty remarkable stuff. It's tough having to go from there to Philly. Philly's healthy. They're a healthier team. I don't want to doubt San Francisco given really what they've done and some of these last few games that they pulled through to clinch their playoff spot and everything. So I don't really want to doubt San Francisco on that end, but it's tough going into Philly, a team trying to defend their house, and they're the healthier team too at this point, and the playoffs is a complete different ball game. So I think it should be close, you would think, relatively. Saquon Barkley's been a massive letdown. As you know, Christian McCaffrey's, that's the thing. Like, it's hard for me to doubt them, man, given everything that they've gone through and have persevered this year. I 100% think that they can go into Philadelphia and win, though. I absolutely do think that they can. I think they're coached well enough to do that. I think they have enough balance of an offense to do that. But it's tough to do that ultimately. So I'm gonna lean Philly too, but I think it's gonna be closer. It's gonna be a little closer though.
Yeah. I don't think that spread. I don't know. I don't like it. They only put the over under at 44.5 points on that game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Philadelphia's offense is not been what it was like last year. They're missing some of the explosion there. It's taken a little bit for Brown to get going. Like as you mentioned, Saquon Barkley hasn't been the piece he was last year either, and I think even Hurts has taken a step back. So we'll see how it goes. But 44.5 points for these two teams, I don't know. I mean, maybe. And then let's go to the Sunday night game. This one's going to be huge. This is going to be the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the New England Patriots in Gillette, in Foxborough. The Patriots are 3.5-point favorites in this game. This is going to be a good matchup. This is going to be a good test to see where the Patriots really are. A lot of the I guess the talk has been that they've done really good this year, but they've also not had the strongest of schedules. And so I think Mike Vrabel has done an excellent job out there in New England. Mm-hmm. I think that he's made them a very competent, fundamental football team. And I mean, they rattled off 9, 10, 11 games there in a row. I think they got a guy in May. This will be a moment to see, how they can handle the pressure. This is the first time they're all in the playoffs together since joining the league for Drake May and some of the guys that are around him. And so, I think they'll end up taking care of business. Foxborough is a hard place to play. Los Angeles having to travel across the country, go from a stadium into probably a much colder atmosphere in New England at night. I just think that everything's kind of favoring towards the Patriots, and they're going to end up winning this game.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I hear you, man. This is huge for New England. First playoff game in 5-6 years. Vrabel, another guy, very well could win Coach of the Year. I wouldn't be surprised though if the Chargers went in and upset them though. I mean, Justin Herbert is due to win his first playoff game. Jim Harbaugh has kind of been there, done that a little bit. But the thing with the Chargers though, man, they're just so banged up on their offensive line. It's been a disaster for them all season. New England has just that they have been when we talk consistency, because when we look at the NFL this year, there really hasn't been a lot of it. Let's be honest. I think outside of really what New England's done, I think what Denver's done, and I think of kind of how you've seen the Rams play and Seattle as well. I think that's really your group of that you can lean on and kind of know what you're probably going to get week in, week out, even if they do lose, whatever. Other than that, like it's been a big pond of teams that really anyone can beat anybody ultimately. And that's really how a lot of the league's been this year, which is a good thing. So with that being said, there's a ton of factors that you can make the case of why you think the Chargers are going to win or whatnot. But I'm on the New England train too. Drake May has transitioned into somebody that you have a ton of confidence in being your franchise quarterback after the last 4 or 5 years of not really having anybody. And again, it just goes to show why coaching matters. I don't know why there's people out there that don't really put an emphasis on coaching. Coaching matters, man. And this is why when you have teams like Cleveland and the Cardinals and the list goes on a handful of organizations, the Jets, they just go through constantly different coach after coach after coach after coach after coach after coach. And it's exactly why that they can't sustain themselves. They have no stability there. So with New England, Belichick leaves, they bring Gerard Mayo. I'm usually a guy that likes to at least give a few years, but Gerard Mayo, it just wasn't connecting. Mike Vrabel, established guy, got to an AFC championship, got more out of what he was dealt with in Tennessee, and former player for the Patriots. Already has a great relationship there. So Jim Harbaugh's a great coach too in his own right. This is, I honestly hate to say I feel like every game can be close because it could, but there's at least going to be another game that's honestly not going to be close. I don't know if it's going to be this one or not, but I'm excited about this one. I think this is a great matchup to put on Sunday night.
Yeah.
And New England fans, they haven't been to the playoffs in 4 or 5 years, so this is kind of something that they've been ready for. Even though they were fine taking a break after all those years with Tom Brady, but regardless, this is another very intriguing matchup. But there's going to be one game though that we look at as we've gone through this outside the Panthers and Rams game that's just going to end up being a dumpster fire. It isn't going to be enjoyable.
Could be, very well could be. It's going to be interesting. And so we'll move on to the Monday night game, the last game on the schedule. What do you think first and foremost about the NFL hosting Monday night games? I mean, I know that the Steelers were open to it because they just played the Baltimore Ravens, a very physical matchup, so they get an extra day of healing. But that also limits you and puts you at a disadvantage going into the following week because there are no other teams that are playing on Monday night. So if you're playing a Saturday night, a team that played on Saturday, which I don't know if they can because I think Saturdays are NFC teams. So no, they're going to play a Sunday game opponent. They still get a day or more rest than the Steelers. What do you think about the NFL going to a Monday night game?
Axman, it's a great point there, man. Thanks for pointing that out. Absolutely. Well, the way the NFL is doing this with the extra wild card, I mean, they've been doing a Monday night game really since they added that extra wild card spot.
Yeah.
They could, I mean, I guess like they could put a 1:00 game on a Saturday and have 3 and 3 if they weren't going to do Monday night. But it honestly doesn't bother me, man. It's a playoffs. this is a professional, you're a professional team. I understand the disadvantage on that end if some type of implication happens with the team that played 2 days before you did. But you know what? It is what it is. Suck it up. No excuses, man. So if you're the Steelers, hey, this is what it is. You guys have dealt with adversity. Same with the Texans. The Texans are as well, besides the Jacksonville Jaguars, hottest team in the league right now. So it's the way it is. The playoffs, some things go your way, some things you don't. Some things don't. You got to overcome that. So that's the grind of it. So I don't have. I honestly, I don't mind it. I'm fine that they play Monday night. I think it's fine as well if they would have a 1:00 game on a Saturday and do 3-3. But it is what it is. I don't really put too much thought into it, honestly. That's just me.
See, the only thing I don't like about it is if they have to travel. The Steelers aren't a good team on the road, especially like on Thursday nights where it's a short week. And so if they're traveling and they have to go somewhere on Sunday, let's just say that's to New England or whoever. If they're traveling, then that they leave a day early, so that's another day. So they're going to get 5 days of practice. And I've never really liked how Tomlin's teams have come out when they're underprepared against other teams, especially on the road. So to me, that's the part that I'm a little bit like, ugh. I really wouldn't wish it on the Steelers, but it is what it is. And you're right. They're a professional football team. They need to go take care of business. Now, that being said, I would appreciate it if they are, going to go up against a team. It'd be a team that they are somewhat familiar with, a team that they had gone up against already, whether it be the Buffalo Bills or the New England Patriots, although those two teams played the Steelers very tough. And in both, well, Buffalo Bills won, but in the Patriots case, if they held on to the ball better, they probably would have won that game handedly. Yeah. Although that's the case, I think they probably, because they've had some sort of, film study on them already, they'd probably be a little bit better prepared on a shorter week. And so that's what my, I guess, hope would be there. Going into this matchup, this game is Steelers are underdogs by 3 points. Over under is 38.5 points. I would say you got to go the over on this game. I think the over is going to hit
38.5.
38.5. That's low. That's low. I mean, the Colts just put up 30 with Riley Leonard on the Texans defense. Now I know the Texans defense has been playing well, and that's probably the exception, not the rule here. But DK Metcalf coming back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Steelers team is probably the healthiest it's been all year because of a couple of different things. I think TJ Watt having to take off a few weeks there due to the whole lung issue that he had. He's come back, as he said, his legs feel better than they ever had at this late of the season. DK Metcalf having the last 2 games off due to suspension. He's coming back fresh. He's pissed off. I don't know if you saw the video of him in practice earlier. He was the only player on the Steelers team running around there with a helmet on. And so he's not happy. He's mad about the entire situation and everything that went down. He didn't get an opportunity to play. Aaron Rodgers, he's playing meaningful football in January. This is exactly what he wanted, and they're playing for the head coach, guy that had fired Tomlin chance not too long ago, ring through Acrisure Stadium. So, I think that I think the Steelers are going to end up probably winning this game. It's Monday night. Steelers haven't lost on a Monday night game since like the 80s or something like that. It's Monday night, and we pulled all the stops out. I'm going to be out there. I'm taking my secret weapon, aka Steelers fan, the wife. She hasn't seen the Steelers lose, and so every time we've gone out there and I've taken her to the game, Steelers have won. So we're pulling out all the stops. Make sure we get a playoff win.
Shout out for sure. For the greater good.
The greater good, man. And so we'll be out there. I think the Steelers end up winning this game. Now, I think it'll end up, the score will probably be closer. I think that the Steelers end up winning somewhere around 28-24. But I think that, it's probably a little bit more comfortable than that. Just something at the end. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Honestly, I agree with the over-under. I really do. The Texans have had the best defense in football, in my opinion. I think that really them defensively this year has been one of the better defenses in the last handful of years, ultimately. So this isn't going to be, I don't view this as something where the Steelers are going to put up 20-some points. I really don't. I really can easily see this being a very low-scoring Monday Night Football game in the cold. I haven't really looked at the weather. I don't know what the cold is or the weather is for this Sunday. I haven't really looked.
The low's going to be like high 20s, low 30s. It's not going to be bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad. So this is a game that I've really kind of seen a really back and forth on. And Houston has been firing on all cylinders, and that's kind of what makes it, as a Steeler fan, what makes it concerning, because CJ Stroud in their offense has been able to kind of find themselves back into really what we were seeing his first year. Last year was a nightmare for them. And when we're looking at them in the middle part of the year, they're kind of floating around 500, like, Stroud still isn't really taking the steps forward. But what they've been doing, like I really think that they've been one of the biggest surprises the second half of the season. And the way the Steelers offense is ultimately ran, that there's times the Steelers can put up points, and we've seen games where they're scoring, 16 or 18 points. We've seen where they've scored 24, they've hit 30 a few times, but we've seen 14, we've seen 16. Heck, in that Cleveland game, we saw, what was it, 6? Is that what it was? So it's going to be interesting how the Steelers are going to approach this game given the Texans defense, what they're going to do. The Steelers offensive line is really going to have to step up. This might be their biggest test all season, from a defensive standpoint, on who they're playing. So with that being said, the Steelers also are 12-0 at home on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
And they win on Monday Night Football. The Steelers also have won 4 out of 5. And they're coming off a big win, of course, last week. Aaron Rodgers has not been in the playoffs the last 4 years. And DK Metcalf's back, which is big for their offense. And I think besides the Bears, the Steelers have arguably the best running back duo in the NFL, especially from a receiving standpoint. This is a situation where I think the Steelers offense can beat the Texans defense on their short throws and on getting Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell involved in their pass game. I would not be surprised if the Steelers win this game, but I don't think that it's going to be close. Or not, I'm sorry. I don't think it's going to be high scoring. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be super high scoring. I think with the Steelers defense as well, their pass rush has come alive the last handful of weeks. Their secondary gave up some big plays last week as well. But overall, what we've seen, really since Jalen Ramsey went to safety, we've seen a more, not this massively improved secondary, but we've definitely have seen it more stabilized. And it's going to be a test for Joey Porter with Nico Collins. But really, the Steelers defense, everybody's healthy. And they haven't really all had that either throughout a good portion of their season.
That's true.
We saw TJ Watt's impact. Alex Highsmith had a huge game last week. Really, the Steelers front seven, and when Derek Harmon's playing, you can just look at the numbers and how their run defense is compared to him in versus him out. So you can break down all the factors all you want, but I see this being a close game ultimately, and I think the Steelers end their playoff drought.
I hope so, man. I hope so. It's a long time coming, and it'll be a good game to catapult them. One of the other things too is Roger said that him and DK have had a really good playoff, a good practice. And the last time they had a good practice, when he talked about practice being good, Steelers performed very well. And so, it's going to be a cold game. It's going to be at night. I'm coming from Texas. I'm not going to be quite ready for it, but we'll see. We'll see. Ron Mexico comes in with $5 coming in and says, "Fly, Eagles, fly." I want to hear those words, DT.
Love to see it. Love to see it.
No, not against it. Not against it. So a couple things real quick. I want to talk about Seattle, and I also want to talk about the Broncos, since they're the two teams that are in the playoffs that got the bye week and are moving on.
Sure.
But first, Afton mentions that the Ravens interviewed Stefanski. What do you think about that? This is actually the first time I hear of it, but
that's actually a great kind of comment there. So what's funny is a lot of the Ravens fans wanted John Harbaugh gone, and it correlates and is very reminiscent to how a lot of Steelers fans want to move off Mike Tomlin. So there's really there's a few intriguing names that I know Ravens fans like, especially my buddy. But here's the thing, is that the fans, whoever the Ravens hire, the fans, whether they're going to like it or not, who knows? Because we don't know who they're going to hire, who they're going to go with. But as my friend Z said, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And that's true. And it's not. John Harbaugh being there 18 years is a long time. They have only won 3 playoff games in the last 10 years as well. They had a very disappointing season this year. So I get it. I understand that. And I understand why Raven fans want to go in a different direction. But you have to really see it play out. So whether it's going to be an upcoming guy who has not been a head coach yet, or if it's going to be somebody who has been before, we don't know. And he made a good point, just that the grass isn't always greener. And I also am as well on the same side that you can't be scared for change. You have to embrace that. And if things don't work, they don't work ultimately. But with the way that the Ravens coaching staff was being constructed, and they let Mike McDonald go 2 years ago, yeah, it's very understandable why a lot of fans want to go in a different direction. So Stefanski's interesting, and it'd be interesting to see him hop to a different team. But just because the Ravens are going in a different direction and different coaching staff, that doesn't mean that it's going to work out. And you can say that about any organization. But there's a lot of interesting teams or interesting names out there for them. So it would be interesting to see Stefanski kind of hop to a new another division or another divisional team. So we'll see. You know, I mean, from what it was said, the Ravens might want to go in a way of more of an offensive perspective to adapt Lamar's game to, I don't know, get whatever the hell they want out of him. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, they've interviewed a handful of guys. So I don't know, honestly.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting which route they go. I think they're going to try to look for an offensive-minded head coach. I mean, if they're
they might wait too until playoffs. Till all the dust settles.
Be the smartest thing to do, in my opinion.
And honestly, what I mean, there's really no rush. Like all these teams, like you do your due diligence or whatever, but there's really no rush or anything, honestly.
Yeah. All righty. So let's look at these teams that don't play this weekend. They got the bye week. They got an automatic win and an advancement to the divisional playoff game. And we're going to start off with the Seattle Seahawks. Now, based on the way we kind of predicted things and how things were going to go, it looks like they'll be taking on the Los Angeles Rams again for, I think, what's that, like a third time? I think they're in the same division. So, yeah, they'll be playing for the third time. If Green Bay or San Francisco, unless, Green Bay or San Francisco end up winning, I think it's most likely going to be the Rams. I think the Rams are going to, beat Carolina. I think San Francisco can beat the Eagles. So it's probably going to be one of those two teams. Either way, it's most likely going to be a divisional rivalry game again, between Seattle and either the Rams or San Francisco. Crazy way that's going to end up. But I'm assuming if you're Seattle, you like those odds, you like that matchup, you're familiar with both of those teams, and you get an extra week to prepare for either one of them. And it's not like you have to go to the drawing board and go up against, like, for instance, the Steelers talked a lot this week about going up against Houston, where they haven't played a lot of teams that played Houston. Like, for instance, at the time when they played the Colts, I don't think the Colts have played Houston. So when they were watching the Colts film, Houston wasn't, part of that film study. And so they hadn't played them this year. That's not the case with Seattle. They've played both San Francisco and Los Angeles twice already. How confident would you be if you're a Seattle Seahawks fan, knowing that you're most likely going to play a divisional foe come the first week?
Before I answer that, here's a question for S-Dubs here.
Yeah.
How confident are you in Sam Darnold in Sam Darnold's first playoff game with the Seahawks? I'm just curious, especially given, what happened last year. So, because last year, I'm not trying to compare, but last year, Minnesota also had one of the best offenses in the NFL and had a great record, and Sam Darnold had a career year. So I'm just curious on how you feel. With that being said, what was your question? Like, how I feel about Seattle?
Yeah. How do you feel about Seattle? Like, if you were a Seattle Seahawks fan, how confident would you be knowing that your most likely first matchup is going to be against a divisional rival who's played a game already? You're going to be, a week off and on break.
10%. Okay.
And so, given what she just said, given the fact that these are going to be teams that know your team and what you want to do, how confident are you going into a divisional game against a divisional team, a divisional wild card game?
The great thing with Seattle, they have a great home field advantage, and
That's
so
true.
they're gonna have that. So that's a huge plus. They have one of the best defenses in the NFL, which is a huge plus. They've had the best receiver in the NFL this year. They have one of the best passing games in the league, which is great. But we saw how that game went against the Rams, and that was, in my opinion, arguably still the best game of the season. And it's not an easy task either. You're facing potential MVP. You got Sean McVay, who's a great coach as well. It definitely would be better suited if Seattle ended up playing, I think, somebody other than the Rams. So if I'm a Seahawks fan, I'm hoping to get somebody outside the Rams, just given the competitive nature of that, given as well just really how that last game went. And just, again, you have the Rams offense that's super high powered as well. But if you're a Seahawks fan, like, you still have to feel good having that home field advantage. It's been a little bit since they've had that. And having that number one seed been a while. So I really think that definitely should give them confidence. Yep, absolutely, Steelers freak. So if it's me, I'm hoping we bypass the Rams for at least another week, and you end up getting somebody else. But I'm feeling confident though. I like, and you got to give credit to Sam Darnold. I know S-Dubs here doesn't really have a lot of confidence. We'll see. Sam Darnold doesn't really have the playoff experience, but the way that he's transitioned his game, and again, the Jets are a dumpster fire. That's where quarterbacks go to die. So with him, that was a disaster. But really, when he got his feet wet with San Francisco, and then getting that opportunity with Minnesota, I mean, it really transcended his career. And now he's in a situation he plays under another really good offensive mind in modern day league, Clint Kubiak, a football family there. So he needs to protect the football and give what the defense takes. Take some of those shots downfield. You got Torrey there. You got JSN, of course, who's a monster. I think Charbonnet really needs to be somebody that's integrated there. I mean, they kind of like, I guess, to balance off him and K9, but it's really the home field advantage for me because they have great fans. They have a great home field advantage during the playoffs when they're in there. So with that being said, and especially if it's going to be a divisional game, I mean, they should feel good, honestly. And I do think Seattle's going to get to the NFC Championship at least.
Yeah. They got a good chance. If I was them, I'd be hoping that Green Bay wins. Green Bay pulls out a victory over the Chicago Bears, and then they know exactly who it's going to be. That game is on Saturday, so you're going to have well enough advance notice for that. Yeah. But I just think that the Bears are going to be too much for Green Bay, and I think it's going to end up being one of those divisional teams. Mm-hmm. Now, transitioning over to Denver. Now, this side, AFC can be a little bit different. I mean, Jacksonville and the Patriots both can easily become victorious, I can see it's not out of the realm of possibility that those two teams win. And if the Steelers win, that the Steelers are the team that the Denver Broncos are going to be playing. And it very well could be, one of the other teams, Buffalo, San Diego. I mean, even Houston, can pull the can beat the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers win would be the upset at this point. Texans winning, that could be a team that goes out there a little bit more of an unknown. It may even go all the way down to Monday night before the Broncos know exactly who it is that they're going to be playing.
Mhm.
And so with that aspect, that does kind of give I would assume like a less of an advantage to the team that is going to be playing against the Steelers, because outside of rest, obviously they're going to have the rest advantage. But you know, it'd be different like if they knew come Saturday and all right, well, we know what team we're going to play after or Sunday night. We know it's going to be the Steelers, and they have the whole day Monday to prepare.
Right.
And I mean, they're still going to watch the game as if they're probably going to play them, but it's just a little bit different there.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I think I'm less confident in Denver than I am at Seattle. But I'm not like overly sold on these two teams in first place of being lock-ins to get to the championship per se.
Well, that's the thing. It's a different. This is the way the season's gone, where you have a few teams in a group together that are your top teams, but you still can see where, they get upset. This isn't the times where we're having New England or the Peyton Manning-led Denver Broncos as the one seed, and that they're going to get to the AFC Championship, or even the prime Chiefs. This is a different ball game here where there's more balance and teams are kind of in the same pool, where they all have their weaknesses and struggles, but they also thrive in different ways too. And that's kind of the unpredictability factor, I think, of if you would see Denver or if you would see Seattle take an L or something. It's just kind of where all these teams are at. So it's definitely not comparable to how seasons and teams in the past have been.
Yeah, I don't disagree, man. I don't disagree. It's going to be a fun weekend, that's for sure. And I'm going to be out in Pittsburgh.
Definitely intriguing matchups for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to be out in Pittsburgh. I'm not flying out there until Monday morning, like super early.
Oh,
Monday,
wow,
so
you're getting in Monday, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be in super early. Like, I think we get there around 11 local time. And so we'll be there. And then the next day I got to fly out super early again. I probably didn't plan that out right, but we want to get back a little bit early.
Understandable.
And so we're just going straight for the game. I'm excited for it. It's my first playoff game ever going.
Well, you'll see the new terminal because the Pittsburgh has a new terminal now.
Well, it opened the day I was here last time. The day I flew out was the first day it was open.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay,
they
so
opened up the airport.
I haven't seen it yet. Yeah.
Well, I've flown out of it. I have not flown into Pittsburgh with the new terminal, so I'm not sure what. Yeah, I've only gone one way, so it'll be exciting to see.
Yeah, no, it's very nice. It's very nice.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Nathan, you want to let everybody know what you got coming up next and where people can find you? I know it's linked in the description, but let everybody know.
Yeah. Guys can follow me at In Hindsight in the description. Really lately, Daniel and I have just kind of been doing our shows, either talking about the Steelers or these Football Fridays that we've kind of done a couple times so far. So we'll probably cover this stuff. I don't know, Afton. I mean, I think it's quite different. They took out the tram, and it looks very different, I think. So I don't know how much you saw, but it is what it is. Anyway, you guys can follow me there. Daniel and I have kind of been doing these shows lately, so we'll kind of probably do them up to the season or through the season ends and into the playoffs and everything. So if you guys enjoy that content, feel free to hang out here on his channel, my channel, whatever you guys prefer. So this is probably what we'll be doing until the end of football season.
Yes, sir. And in fact, Afton, myself, and Steelers fan are going to meet Afton and Aram out there at the game. They're going to be sitting next to us.
There you go. That's exciting. Afton, enjoy your time. Safe travels.
Yeah, they already got there. They sent us some pictures of them at the
Nice.
terminal. It's pretty nice.
Nice.
Yeah, we're all sitting at the in section. I think it's 210, right on the 50, man.
Hell yeah.
I
It's gonna be a great time.
I got lucky. I went in as soon as they opened up the tickets. I bought them as fast as I could, and I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Well, guys, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Go check out Nathan's channel. If you're watching Nathan, if you're watching me on Nathan's channel, come check out either the DT show or State of the Steelers. I have 2 channels. I'm airing this out on both of them. Make sure you go and check it all out. Until next time, guys, I'll see y'all then. Peace out, y'all.